today about how you can take your fundraising to the next level as we approach our final month of fundraising for Pedal the Cause. So fundraising goes until October 31st. I am going to put up some slides for us to look at while we're going, and then I'm going to pass off to our executive director, David Dreyer, who's going to talk about Pedal the Cause's impact and what a great pedal weekend we all just had.
Hey, thanks, Corinne, and welcome everyone. It's great to be with you this afternoon. Last weekend, we had 3,500 participants spread out across the metropolitan area and about 37 other states doing their athletic endeavor to commemorate their Pedal the Cause involvement and to support our mission statement of a world without cancer. Those participants were members of 236 different teams. And so anyone chiming in today, listening in today, I know you're likely a member of a team and you're looking to figure out ways to continue the fundraising through our deadline of October 31st. We have to date raised 2.3 million collectively. So it's a really wonderful outpouring of generosity from everyone at all levels. We're seeing $10 contributions up to, $3,000, $5,000 type contributions. So it really runs the entire spectrum. And we are so grateful for everything, for everyone, and for every dollar that's been raised by you out there. It's really terrific. But Corinne and staff, along with Stacy and our panel, Randolyn and Bill and Ann and Nick, we're here to stimulate even a few new ideas that you can put forward in these remaining weeks in hopes that we really maximize the enthusiasm and the inspiration that this past weekend has really imparted on all of us. So a big thank you from me right now for all you're doing, for all you continue to do to realize our World Without Cancer mission as we really work finalizing a big check to give to Siteman Cancer Center and Siteman Kids at St. Louis Children's Hospital. I'll turn it back to you, Corinne, now, and we'll get into the meat of the matter.
Great. So yeah, as David said, 100% of donations are going to Siteman Cancer Center and Siteman Kids at St. Louis Children's Hospital. And over the last several years, we've raised $29 million for 156 research projects at those institutions. So we are here to see how much bigger we can make that number together. So this is just a little overview of what we're going to be talking about. Stacy and I are going to talk about the three main steps to successful fundraising for Pedal the Cause. Then we'll get real tips from real fundraisers from Nick, Bill, Randolyn, and Ann. And then we'll answer your questions. So feel free throughout this to, if you're joining us on Zoom, write your questions in the chat. If you were joining us on Facebook Live, feel free to write your questions in the comments and we'll collect those and either answer them as we go if it makes sense, or at the end we'll revisit them together as a group. So keep your questions coming. So the three main steps of successful fundraising. Step one is really simple, but really, really important, and that is to tell your story. So all of us, unfortunately, have a connection to cancer. Either we ourselves have been impacted, someone in our family, it could be a neighbor, someone you know from your religious affiliation, your church or your temple, could be a classmate of one of your kids, an aunt or uncle. Unfortunately, cancer touches so many people that the reality is that it will touch many of us in our lives. And you telling your personal story is what makes your fundraising the most effective. And later, when we talk to Nick and Bill and Randolyn and Ann, our awesome top fundraisers, you'll see that this is a common thread in all of their fundraising, is that they do a really exceptional job of talking about why cancer research is important to them and why they want to create a world without cancer. So this first slide just really shows why this is so important. We just looked at, based on our website, who was updating their profile picture and writing a personal story in their profile page that you get when you register for Pedal the Cause. And the people who did those two things raised about twice as much from about 2 times as many donors as the people who didn't. So this just really illustrates that going to the effort of telling your story, even in the most simple way, just by updating your profile photo and story, helps you get started on a really good path toward raising more money, which is what we're all here for. So the first thing I'm going to do is go through how to update those things. So if you're new to Pedal the Cause, this will be a good quick overview of how to update these things on your profile page, because they do have such a big impact. So the first thing you're going to do is to log in to your profile at pedalthecause.org. And when you go to our website, you'll see in the top right corner there a login button, and it'll take you to this page where you can put in your username and password. And if you forget it ever, you can click this link at the bottom here and get it sent to you, or you can email us for help and we can help you get logged in. So if you haven't done this before, it's a really important step to get logged in and update these options. So what you'll see is a screen like this on the right. This isn't the full screen. I just snapped a little portion of what the screen looks like, but you'll want to look for these options under this little profile guy. And each of these options here will change something on the front end of your profile page. So the box on the left is what the front end looks like when other people visit your page. So if you want to update your profile picture, update your why I'm inspired section, which is, you can see here I've updated mine saying I'm celebrating 5 years cancer-free this year. So I made that really personal to my experience. And then you can even add a YouTube video, and it's really simple. You click this edit YouTube video button and you just put a link to a YouTube video and it automatically embeds it. You can see mine there. I was a featured fighter, so I have a featured fighter video, but a lot of people record their own video and upload it to YouTube and put it on there. And it's a really nice way to make your page a little more interactive and engaging. So that is a really basic overview of how to update your profile page, but I just want to say that we're going to move on to kind of step number 2, which is making the ask, which is really the crux of the fundraising experience. But I just want to say, I'm going to pass it off to Stacy in a moment to talk about writing a fundraising email and launching a Facebook fundraiser and other ways to make these asks. But just know that telling your story doesn't stop with updating your profile picture. Telling your story is going to be a part of all of these next steps. Every time you talk about Pedal and ask for donations, telling why it matters to you is going to be a huge part of making that a powerful experience and being successful in raising money. So Stacy, I will let you take it away.
Thanks, Corinne. Hi, everyone. For those who don't know me, I'm Stacy Abeleys, and I am the Director of Development at Pedal the Cause, and I'm also a team captain. So I am in the throes of fundraising with you. So as Corinne shared, step 2 is what's going to drive the thermometer on your writer page. You have to make the ask in order to get your fundraising dollars to increase and get moving towards and exceed your goal. So now that you've updated your profile page with your story and your picture and kind of why you ride, here's the tricky part. You have to start asking for donations. It's not just about putting it up on your page. You need to continue to share your story. A lot of people find this uncomfortable. It gives them a little bit of anxiety, and we understand that. But always remember, you're not asking for yourself. You're not asking them to give a $200 check or a $2,000 check to Stacy. You're asking for the greater good and for our community at large. There have been so many people who have been impacted by cancer, and it's just important that you share that story. So we would ask you to realize that giving makes people feel good, and they can't give if you don't ask. So the first step is making that ask, and you're really making them feel good by participating in local philanthropy. Next slide, please. Thank you. So our most successful fundraisers ask, and they ask often. So you can use the, let me just make sure I'm on the right slide. Yep, so sending a fundraising email, you want to look at the list to your left as to who you should target, but also if you've fundraised in the past, You can download a report of your past donors. Please start by asking those donors again. They said yes to you once, they will likely say yes to you again. We make it really easy for you to be successful with your fundraising. We have a lot of templates and tools online under our resources page of the website. So you can go pull that and use those templates. You don't have to recreate the wheel. Bill Eads will talk about crafting a personal email later. He does a really exquisite job of that. But for those who aren't linguists and really wordsmiths and just want the basic information, we have all that available for you. So you don't have to cut and paste off our website. All that information is ready for you. So be sure to personalize, copy and paste as the slide says, and then just customize your appeal. Again, why you're writing, maybe who you're writing for, tell your story. The last thing you want to do is you want to find your link, and in any type of communication that you send, you want to be sure to include that link to your profile page. We want to make it easy for our donors to say yes. And by including that link to your writer page, you're making it just one step easier for them to make a donation on your behalf. So this is a really, really exciting new feature that we have added to kind of the Petal toolbox of fundraising, and that's Facebook fundraisers. We all are on Facebook, have been on Facebook, have been asked to get on Facebook, and we now have a tool to donate through Facebook. So you can now start a Facebook fundraiser by linking it to your Petal the Cause page with just a few clicks of the button. So you'll go ahead and go into your profile, and under that there'll be create a Facebook fundraiser. So you'll want to go ahead and follow the steps. It's really important to note that you need to go through the Petal the Cause website to start your fundraiser. Don't go through Facebook to click a fundraiser and start your own, because that doesn't organically make its way back to us, and it can be a really slippery slope to get those donations to actually pull into your writer page. So you're going to want to log in to your profile. Again, click the fundraiser page to set up your Facebook fundraiser, and just simply follow the prompts. It's so easy. Corinne, David, and I all tested it when it first came out. It was really the most simple fundraising tool that we've used to date, and we've all been really successful with that fundraiser. So you just go ahead, enter your goal, and you'll enter the text as to why you're fundraising. You can certainly copy and paste from your link and from your writer profile already. That will pre-populate, and you can enter in new information. And then you just click the orange bar at the bottom to create your Facebook fundraiser, and it should link directly to your profile. So Corinne gave us a sample of what her fundraiser looked like. I have one as well, as does David, so you can look at any of ours on Facebook. So you just want to personalize your page. You can invite, just like any other event on Facebook, you can invite friends to donate. You can share updates, as well as you can thank your donors. There are a lot of easy tricks to make it personal to you. So again, in the About section, you're going to want to edit that fundraiser. Again, this will all pull from what's in your writer profile, but you can certainly customize. Again, you want to enter and invite friends. You are 4 times as likely to get donations if you actually invite friends to your fundraiser versus just posting your link. Again, people want to feel like they're being personally solicited by you, that you made a request specifically of them. So go ahead and take those important steps to invite your friends to donate. You want to share updates. People like to know that you're getting close to a goal. So if you're working towards the metric century or the century, and you were outside riding 25 miles, update your friends and update those folks and say, you know, I'm 25 miles closer, I'm 30 miles closer. How about a donation of $30 today to match the miles I rode? So those updates are really critical, again, so people feel involved and that they're able to kind of be involved in your journey and follow you along. So share, share, share. And again, make sure you share it to your newsfeed. And the most critical step is to say thank you. The donor information captured in Facebook remains in Facebook. So while it'll populate on your rider feed as a Facebook donation, it's not going to go into your rider reports. So when you're looking for your donors specifically from Facebook, you have to pull that information from Facebook. So just one extra step, but again, just the power of social media, people are really inclined to donate to you on Facebook if you make it easy for them. So again, check your Facebook fundraiser often for notes and edits that you can make, but also if anyone donates, you can thank them through that vehicle as well.
Thank you so much, Stacey.
Thank you.
Before I move on to the next part of the presentation, is that when Stacey was talking about posting updates, Stacey does a really good job of this. So if you want to see a good example of a Facebook fundraiser with a lot of updates, I screenshotted mine because you could see the back end stuff on mine. But Stacey actually has posted a lot of photos of her on her, and she did a challenge where she was trying to ride a certain amount of miles before the end of the month, which she just did last night. Woo! In addition to reaching her fundraising goals, so very exciting. But it's a good example of, she would post little thermometers of her fundraising and her training goals to keep people updated on both, and she posted about every week or so. And I think that really kept driving traffic to her Facebook fundraiser. So just a good example of how that works. Oh, I forgot there was one. I forgot I had another slide. Stacey, do you want to do this one, or I can?
Of course, no, absolutely. So social media, we are creatures of habit, and people love social media. So please post often, share on all your social media platforms. If you are big on LinkedIn, and that is the platform that you really use to connect with your vendors and clients and business colleagues, use LinkedIn. If you're big on Facebook, use that. If you're on Instagram, if you're Snapchat, whatever vehicle you use and use often, as well as will have the best audience for you, use that platform, as well as use multiple platforms if you are on them. We have a great library of stock photos and past event photos, which you are welcome to use, but also use personal pictures. Again, as Corinne said, when I was training, I would just take a picture of me on a bike, not glamorous, very sweaty, but you could tell I was doing the work. People want to be involved in your journey and see your progress, so allow them to be a part of it by sharing those important graphics. If you're an active Facebook user, you can add a frame around your cover photo as well as your profile that talks about PTC 2020. So you can go ahead and do that. You definitely want to add that link to your fundraising bio on your social media channels. So again, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on Instagram, especially in the body of Instagram, you cannot hyperlink. So you want to be sure to do that as part of your profile. Again, my biggest tip is you want to make it easy for people to say yes. So you want to share those updates, share that link early and often so people can just do one click and say, yes, I'm happy to donate. The last thing is we want you to tag Pedal the Cause as well as use our hashtags. We have a great social media base, and if you tag us, we will typically share it. So it just brings a new audience to you. So if you're posting about someone who may have been impacted by breast cancer, October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and someone might see it and say, you know what, I don't know him or I don't know her, but it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month and I'm going to give them $25. So you never know about the power of the network and the Pedal family and St. Louis in general, just very philanthropic. So be sure to tag us. It will only benefit you in your fundraising as you go. So again, tag Pedal the Cause, use our hashtag Pedal the Cause, A World Without Cancer, and then specific to this year, PTC inspired, especially if you're doing a physical challenge and really challenging yourself. People have really been using that hashtag, and it is trending. So you definitely want to use that PTC inspired. Okay, now back to you, Corinne.
Now, yeah. Sorry, I totally stole from you.
Of course, no, you're fine.
I'm just going to go back a slide really quick because you did have one question in the chat about how to know who donated to your Facebook fundraiser. So when you go to your Facebook fundraiser, this box on the right is a screenshot of my Facebook fundraiser. If I scroll down past the about, if I scroll down a little bit, you'd see like it would say, Stacey Abeles donated $20 to your Facebook fundraiser. And so then you can thank them by clicking comment, and I could say, Stacey, thanks so much. Or I could click her and I could DM her, and I could, or because I work with Stacey, I could also text her or call her. But if it's someone that you might just know through Facebook, it's a loose acquaintance, you can thank them right there on the platform. Yeah. That's a really good question. All right. So the last step, but the most important in a lot of ways, especially to, continuing this momentum year after year, is to thank your donors. People want to be generous and they want to give to good causes, but they also want to be seen and heard and appreciated. And so it's really simple, but really important to say thanks. Thank yous should be prompt and personal. So as soon as you can, sending a thank you right away is really good, and making it personal. So make sure it doesn't seem like you're just like copying and pasting. Make sure it is personal, that you're really personalizing it to that person. You'll get an email notification when you get donations through your profile page, and it'll say Stacey Abley's donated to your fundraiser, and then it'll have her email on it, so I can just click on her email and write her a thank you. But it'll also put, if she put a note to me, so sometimes someone will make a donation and say, "Go Bill, go!" And so you want to make sure you kind of reference that in your thank you. Again, we just talked about saying thank you for Facebook fundraiser gifts and where to find those. You can also, I really encourage you to share impact. People also want to know that their gift mattered and made a difference. And the cool thing at Petal is that it really does. 100% is going to cancer research. We have a 7-to-1 ROI, return on investment, on our funds because of the way the researchers use the initial data to get more funding for additional research. So, you can find our impact report on our website. You can also buy note cards if you like doing handwritten notes, which I personally love doing, although that's not always the most prompt response. I usually do a prompt email right away, thanks so much, and then do a handwritten note when I have time, so that they're kind of getting something a little more thoughtful when I'm able. So that is really the last step. There are more resources on our website, so I really encourage you to go to petalthecause.org/tools. We've got an extensive fundraising toolkit that goes into all of the things we just talked about in more detail. We have a Facebook fundraiser how-to that shows you screenshots of every single step of starting a Facebook fundraiser and where to find information on the Facebook fundraiser page if you're looking for it. So if we didn't answer your question here, obviously, but you can put a question in the chat, but you can also check that out. And then we have a ton of graphics, our logos. You can make a flyer or impact report. All of that stuff is on this website on the tools page. So I really encourage you to check that out. But I am going to introduce our esteemed fundraising panel of our awesome participants who are here to share their personal experience with you. David, I'm going to let you answer this. I have a question in the chat. Someone asked what our goal is this year for fundraising for Petal the Cause.
I just replied to it.
Okay, I didn't see that. Sorry.
Our internal goal is $3 million this year. And we've calculated that based on, the organization can do collectively, what the Petal family can do. And then you factor in COVID and the environment in which we're all living under. And we brought it to a $3 million mark, which we're well on our way. And we really feel good about. But, the next 4 weeks will be the proof in the pudding.
Yeah. All right, so I'm going to start introducing our panel. So the first person I am going to go to is our friend Ann Sullivan. Ann is on Team Powered by Hope, and she has been on the podium, which you get the podium by raising $25,000 or more, 3 years in a row. This is her third year achieving that. And over the lifetime of her fundraising in Petal over the last 4 years, she's raised almost $100,000. So Ann, I would love for you to unmute yourself and tell the Petal family a little bit about what your approach to fundraising has been for cancer research and what has helped you be successful as a fundraiser.
Well, thank you so much, Corinne. And I have to tell you, whenever you asked me to do this for Petal the Cause today, I was sort of explaining to you, like, my story is really so simple. I am blown away every year at just the generosity of people that actually support us. So, for me, telling my story just makes it so much more personable. And so we reach all of our friends and family via email. So, and in that email, will send a personal note or basically give an update, because, even when, I was diagnosed in 2017, and here I am 4 years later, I was in remission for a period of time. I received no evidence of disease. And then all of a sudden it comes back. So, my story is always changing. I sort of feel like, sadly, we in our home sort of live under the cloud of cancer, and that cloud changes. Sometimes it's sunny and sometimes it's gray and raining. And so just sort of sharing that piece. I definitely think photos matter. I am a big believer in, I guess, an old-fashioned way of thanking people, and that we send out, like we do a picture Christmas card, only instead we send out our thank you note. We'll take pictures from the weekend of our family riding or biking or wherever. And I have to tell you, last year, my husband and I were in Arizona, and we were on a bike trail, and I had my Powered by Hope jersey on. And I get emotional. I was standing on a rock and just pointing up. And I just said at the back of my thank you card, I am powered by hope every day. And there have been so many of my friends that have taken that picture and they have it framed in their home. I mean, of all things. So they're so appreciative of that. Asking. I will tell you that asking is so critical, because people do want to do something. Even in COVID times, when I just recently had a surgery in May, people were wanting to start a meal train for our family. And I basically tried to say no, because I knew people that were not able to afford meals or were limiting themselves going to the grocery store, that I thought, I can't ask them to make a meal for me. But what I found, even with my no, I had a magic cooler on my front porch, or somebody put it there, and they did it anyway. They want to give. They want to do things to show that they love and support us. And I just keep saying over and over again, giving is one way that you can not only give to me, and maybe the research I won't see in my lifetime, but it will in many lives to come. I work as a counselor in a private practice. And so I don't do a lot of Facebook stuff. My kids do. I probably need to be better at it. But I do use Instagram and places where I can sort of manage my social media. I tell my story on Caring Bridge, and so many people write comments back. Thank you for giving us the update. Thank you for telling us what's going on with you, because there are so many people that truly, truly do care. You run into people every day that will say, oh, I'm thinking about you, or I'm praying for you, or whatever. And you wonder, are they really? Are they really? But people really are, and they really do want to give. So we always say, no matter what amount, we're so grateful, and any amount that you can give. And we always wear our Pedal the Cause or Powered by Hope, gear, and people will ask, what does it mean? In fact, after we rode our miles on Sunday, we went and had breakfast at a local IHOP, and the waitress saw that we were in our Powered by Hope jerseys, wanted to hear what happened, wanted to hear what we were doing. And do you know what? I mean, she has been battling cancer, and I told her my story, and she gave $50 to us. I mean, it's something, a perfect stranger, so I just think it is power in your story, power in photos, just being vulnerable and real about what it is like to live with cancer. I sort of am the eternal optimist, and I try to motivate people every day. I try to give people hope every day. So, I don't look like I have stage 4 colon cancer. I love that Pedal the Cause does living proof because I am living proof that through research, through all the things that we give to Siteman, for the great minds and the people there that take care of us, that give us hope every day, that, you know, that I hope I can beat this and that I won't have, you know, cancer attached to me. But as much as I look at this and people are like, oh, it's so hard, I always tell them it's been the greatest gift. Meeting all the people I have through this great organization, knowing that how it's funded, and, you know, we talk about it all the time with our friends and family. And I live it every day, and I feel honored and proud. Truly, I do. So.
Thank you so much, Anne. We're so honored and proud to get to know you, to have you be a part of the Petal family, and to see you share your story and inspire other people, including your IHOP waitress and so many other people who meet you. I am living proof too, and I've experienced the same thing, that randomly, if you mention it, like if you're wearing a Petal shirt or a living proof shirt and someone knows what it means and talks to you about it, you realize that this really has impacted everyone. I mean, it's crazy.
Cancer does connect us all. That is sort of what I've said, you know, and COVID times, I did say what hasn't been canceled, because I always say the word of the year is canceled. And I just told everyone, sadly, cancer hasn't been canceled, especially in our lives. So that's and I will also add that the matching gifts. So my sister-in-law, who works for McDonald's hamburger at the corporate office in Chicago, they do a whole matching thing. So she took my information, my story, and sent it to her team and just said, this is my sister-in-law. I've told you a little bit about her. Read her story, see these photos of her, learn about Petal the Cause, and know that we match. So give. And they did, because you know, we told her when she was in town over the weekend that we're going to have to go through our list so we can know, like, some of the people who gave I've never even met. So, you know, and they gave like $100, you know, like no small amount, you know. So I just am so grateful for that.
Yeah, the matching gifts are really important. That's a really good reminder that, you know, we can all check in with our donors if we know that they work somewhere that has a match, or even just sending a bottle up to ask if, you know, if your company matches. It's free money for cancer research, so may as well take advantage of it. Thank you so much, Anne. I hope if you have time and you were able to stick around for Q&A, we'd love that. But I know you may have patients to get to, so.
Okay.
Either way. Next, I'm going to introduce Bill Eads. Bill is the team captain of Team Leukemia, and he is a 2-time Yellow Jersey and 6-time King of the Mountain fundraiser. For those of you who don't know, Yellow Jerseys are for raising $2,500 or more. You can see he's got his yellow jersey on. And King of the Mountain is for raising $5,000 or more. And he's got his King of the Mountain hat on too. So Bill's decked out in Petal gear, ready to go. Over the many years that Bill has participated, I think 9 years, he has raised over $45,000 for cancer research. And on top of all of that, Bill is a cancer researcher at Siteman Cancer Center on the leukemia team. So Bill is all around helping us create a world without cancer. So Bill, I would love for you to share some of your wisdom from your many years of fundraising and what has worked for you and your team in raising these critical funds.
Well, I'm always happy to sport the swag. So that's one part. Honestly, my methods on fundraising had little to do with my original thought. I was very fortunate to have ridden with Nancy Bartlett and Bartlett's Bikers for 2 years. And Nancy had a very unique way of doing things in that she defied all of the social media aspect of it. Not to say that's bad, but she wrote individually crafted, personal, handwritten letters and emails to every potential donor that she had. And that's a tall task when you consider how busy Nancy is as a physician. And she made the time. and she cut into her personal life to do this. And it was a perfect example for me. So any of the requests that I make for donations are absolutely personal. And the difficult thing for anyone that knows me is brevity, but it's very important. And to make sure that a concise message is there that connects to the potential donor, that they know that this is not a bot, this is actually you, and that you can fill them in on what you're doing, not only for Pedal the Cause, but otherwise, and just maintain that connection. There's a reality factor there for a potential donor. That's really important. The other idea is follow up and thank you. And the thank yous have to be profuse and more than once. It's already been said, but the first thank you has to be as immediate as possible, an acknowledgement that this happened and that you are truly appreciative of taking their time even to look. My emails for requests for donations have an initial hyperlink going directly to the public view donate of my profile, not my profile, but the actual There are many people that don't have enough time to read what you put up there. And you don't want to waste their time, and you want to respect their time. So that's another thing that I do. So the thank yous initially are by email. Pedal the Cause has a lot of methods of thanking people. And of course, the handwritten notes are available. I've never met an organization that had more swag. You know, everything from lip balm to, sunscreen, whatever. And so I actually have a box in my car at all times. And when I see these people, I'll give them something, These wristbands fit into the envelopes of the thank you cards, believe it or not, and they flatten out. And it's just something that's tangible, that's something that they can remember, and something beyond that instant email reply. And you're connecting to your donors, whoever they may be, whether it's a family or a friend or a vendor or someone that you've had a business relationship with, that continues. It continues on to next year. And then next year, it's actually easier to get a repeat because you've proven to them that it's not just a one-time thing. And that's really the extent. I mean, again, it wasn't all my idea. I've been blessed to be around a lot of passionate doctors, Amanda Cash, and all the people that are in bone marrow transplant in the lymphoma area. And what I do for a day job is facilitate research for a lot of these people as well. But not everybody is involved in this to the degree that I am, and I realize that. So sometimes I can see where it would be hard to reach out. And for a lot of people have a hard time just even crossing that threshold of asking for money from anyone. And I get it. And a lot of my team members at Team Leukemia have the same problem. And I can only tell you that after the first time, it gets easier. And I'll close with that.
Thank you, Bill. That's a really good closing note. You're right. It can be really intimidating. And I think everyone who has taken the plunge and started fundraising for a good cause like Pedal the Cause realizes the same thing, that it gets easier and it gets more and more rewarding as you do it. So the next person I'm going to introduce is Randolyn Bassel, who is on Team Gynonc Teal on Wheels. She's one-time King of the Mountain and two-time Road Warrior fundraiser. And over her lifetime, she has raised over $36,000 for cancer research. And she is the co-captain of Gynonc Teal on Wheels, along with her oncologist and a featured fighter. So Randolyn, really same question for you. What has been your experience fundraising for cancer research been like? what has worked for you, what hasn't worked. You have been, I'll just preface by saying that Randolyn is more active on social media. So a little bit of a contrast to Bill and Ian, who have a more traditional approach. Randolyn is very active on Instagram, on Facebook, and that's not the only way she fundraises, but she does do a lot of fundraising that way. So Randolyn, take it away.
Thanks. So yes, this is my third year doing Pedal the Cause. I was diagnosed with ovarian cancer in 2017. And this year is the first year I haven't had a surgery. So when I was diagnosed, I started using a blog and social media to kind of tell my story as to what was going on and keep everybody updated. And due to that, I have quite a bit of following on both of those social media channels, Facebook and Instagram, which allowed for me in the first year, in 2018 when I rode, to kind of get things started, because I had no idea where to start. It was like, okay, my oncologist, Dr. Andrea Hageman, she said, okay, so do you want to co-captain with me? And I was like, yeah, this is great. And then Pedal was like, do you guys want to be featured fighters? And I'm like getting thrown into this, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I have no idea what I'm doing. And so all of those things really helped and spurred the momentum for me, but laying a really good foundation so that then I could go back in 2019 and 2020 and kind of add to all of that. In my first year, I did set a pretty lofty goal, and I did the century ride, which I think helped a lot of people, right? I think I was 15 months out of chemo, and I rode the 100 miles. And so that encouraged a lot of people to donate. Last year, I used fundraising efforts and partnered with some people in the St. Louis community. So Arch Apparel for one, and we raffled Blues tickets off for Game 6. And that was huge. And that gave me a crazy amount of money. And then this year, I decided in July that I was going to tackle 1,000 miles between July 1st and last Sunday for Pedal Weekend. And I took my donors list from the years in the past and would send out weekly emails as to, this is where I am, this is how far I've ridden, here are my donors. Oh, and in addition to all of that, I didn't just ride for myself this weekend. Here are the people in my life that I rode for who have either been diagnosed with cancer, are currently in the fight against cancer, or have lost their battle to cancer. And so I was able to share something. It wasn't necessarily all gynecological oncology stories. My family has been affected by all types of cancer, and so have my friends. And so I was able to create a little bit of awareness there and kind of pull on some heartstrings. For those of you that don't know where to start, the easiest thing I did and still do is post something on Facebook, if you have it, or LinkedIn, or wherever. I don't do so great with Instagram, but on getting donations, but those other two I do quite well with. And I'll tell a personal story. Something you could do is, what did you do on Pedal the Cause weekend to be inspired? And hopefully that will kind of put a twist on it. And how did what you did, for me, it was finish my 1,000 miles, which I got 1,001.5 in some change probably, but I just rounded. And then, hopefully that will then inspire those that are reading to, click on the link that'll take them directly to your public profile view, like Bill said, so that they can easily just go ahead and click the donate to my fundraising campaign and make the donation. And like everybody else has said, probably the other thing is, not very many people do handwritten thank you notes anymore. So when you are stepping up and sending out those thank you notes, which mine were coming after I finished my 1,000 miles, which I did, so they're all going out this week. Send them a note and personalize it. Thank them, update them on where you are, and that kind of a thing. And I think for me, that's worked very well, and it's made a huge impact. hopefully for Petal. And I know that it's kind of given, and I go so far as to say why this is important, right? Like there's so many other things organization wise that people could donate to. Why is it Petal the Cause? And I touch on the ROI, and I touch on there is probably going to come a time in my lifetime. I was diagnosed at 36 with ovarian cancer. I've had a prophylactic bilateral mastectomy, my gallbladder removed for biopsy, and I'm young. I'm 40 now, but there's more than likely going to come a time when I'm going to need the research that is being funded again. And if it's not me, it's going to be somebody in my family. So that's kind of what I do. I just keep informing people.
Thank you so much, Randall. And that's really perfect. And of course, what you've been doing has had a tremendous impact on Petal the Cause and on cancer research. And thank you. And thank you for sharing what's worked for you. And hopefully it inspires someone else to do something creative and to follow those best practices for fundraising. So our final guest is Nick Porter. Nick is on Team Keeley. He has been a Yellow Jersey and then a two-time Road Warrior fundraiser. He has raised over $17,000 with Team Keeley. So Nick, same question to you. What has worked for you in your fundraising? I know that you did use a Facebook fundraiser tool this year. So if you want to talk a little bit about how that has worked for you, that would be wonderful.
Thanks for having me. And I'll try not to repeat what everybody said because it sounds like we kind of do a lot of the same things. Start with, I'll get to the Facebook fundraiser, but like we've said, it's best to start with your story. So real briefly, I'll tell you how I got involved with Petal. Mike Christian has been a friend of mine for about 40 years, and he's captain of Team Keeley. And I used to go and watch the event in 2016. I was watching it. And then, so Mike finally talked me into riding. I don't even own a bike. I still to this day don't own a bike, but I need to start riding more. But I go out and ride every year in this event. And I started riding in 2017. And ironically, 3 months later, sorry. 3 months later, I was diagnosed with stage 4 colon cancer. And it metastasized my liver and lung. All right, so I got involved with that. I went through surgeries and radiation and chemotherapy, and I'm still going through it. I got to start back up again on Monday. But I'm really glad I got involved. And one of the things I do since I started this was I recommend getting involved and getting your word out there on the donations early and often. I think I got my first donation this year on March 4th. So it's like roughly 6 months before the event. So I do use Facebook, and I used the Facebook fundraiser this year, and it's a great tool. And I actually didn't start on it. I'm trying to remember the date. It maybe wasn't even a month ago when I started this. It was probably less than that. I wasn't even aware of it. So I really got on the ball with it. But I had already been, I send out email blasts. I keep track of everybody that's been donating over the years. I keep the same people on the email blasts and add to it. Send, like everybody said, send a thank you immediately. As soon as you get the notification that you got a donation, that's the least you can do. I mean, I really highly recommend that. So the Facebook fundraiser worked. I use Instagram. One of the things I did since I was diagnosed was I started a Caring Bridge site. So I like to write, and I give updates on about my situation as each time I get a treatment or an update from a doctor or something like that, a scan. I update all my friends and family, people that follow me, and I post it on Facebook. So keeping the awareness out there is always big. And most of my donors now, they're already expecting to hear from me again every year. So that makes it a lot better. One of the things that Mike Christian and I have discussed, in fact, we're going to talk about it this weekend to start for next year. We're trying to think of some other ways to raise money. Before I go on that one, but don't ever be afraid. My advice to all of you that are out there that are intimidated or afraid to ask don't be afraid. I mean, we all know somebody that's been affected with cancer. I don't care who you are. You know somebody. Hopefully it's not you, or nobody wants this, but we all know somebody. So don't be afraid. I think I raised $6,600 last year. And then when this happened with the COVID, I wasn't sure how this was going to go down. I wasn't even sure if I could raise 2,000, but I'm already up to 5,500. And I'm amazed that people still have the ability to give. And I think they want to give and they want to help. So I would go with that. But I'll just end on this. Some of the things we're trying to think of, or at least I'm trying to think of, is other ways to raise money and give it to Petal is, I'm a big golfer. So we're discussing a possible golf tournament that we're going to put on with our team or members of our team. And any money we raise for that will go to Petal. So that's my story.
Thank you so much for sharing both your story with cancer and with Petal, and more specifically. One of the things that Nick said that I just wanted to echo was that don't be afraid, I think was a really good piece of wisdom. I think all of you said that in one way or another, is to don't be afraid to ask for money for donations to a good cause. And I think that's a big thing that has been holding some people back this year, especially with COVID and not the best economy. A lot of people feel like, oh, it's not the right year to ask. And I think you all did a really beautiful job of illustrating that it is the right time because cancer isn't being canceled, as Anne said earlier. The other great thing that Nick said was that people expect to hear from you. And that's another thing that I think several of you mentioned, was that, reaching out to the same people every year. Bill mentioned that too. People expect to hear from you. So if you've been fundraising for Petal the Cause for a few years and you think, well, I don't know, do I want to fundraise this year? Maybe it's not the right year. Those folks are probably already planned on, oh, when Nick sends me that email, I'll send him $100. And we like to think that people would give either way, but people have a lot going on and they just need a reminder. And if you just reach out and remind people who've donated to you before quickly, hey, you can still donate to this great cause, 100% is going to cancer research. Every dollar is needed. Do what you can. You're going to be surprised by people's generosity, which is another thing another theme I just repeat, is that everyone has said some form of, how surprised everyone has been by the generosity of their family and friends, especially during challenging times like this year. So I encourage everyone to continue to fundraise and do what you can because we need it as much as ever. I have not seen any questions in our chat yet. If anyone on Facebook or on Zoom has any questions, we do have a couple minutes left that we could answer them. Did any of you, while we're waiting, Randall and Anne, Bill, did any of you guys have anything else you wanted to add? Especially like I know Anne and Randall and Bill, since other people have gone since you. If you wanted to share anything else that's been sparked for you, feel free to. Or if David or Stacy have any closing words of wisdom.
The one thing I wanted to add is I know we are all so dependent on social media, but to Bill and Anne's point, as well as Randall and Nick mentioned as well, like the importance of thanking people. Don't underestimate the handwritten note. It might feel a little archaic if you're just used to sending a quick text, which you absolutely should if you get a quick email that comes through, but there is something really powerful and really personal about the handwritten note. So that's the first thing. And then the second thing I wanted to note is that Petal receives a significant number of checks every year. And I know we talked a lot about giving electronically, either online or through Facebook. But if you know your donors and you know that they are the kind of person that wants to get out a checkbook, or they have a family foundation, or are giving through a donor advised fund, it would behoove you to go to our website and know the address to send your check. Better yet, when you send your solicitation, if you know that they are a check writer, drop in the address, either print off the page or drop it in. My motto is make it easy for people to say yes. And there's nothing worse than someone having a check and them not knowing where to send it, or they send it to you and you have to deliver it to Petal and we have to send it to our lockbox. Just make it a one-stop shop so we know that people are very comfortable giving online, but there are just as many people who like to write a check or have some sort of system or organization that they give their funds charitably through. So be sure that, and we can share that after, but that's also available, and Corinne just shared it in the bottom in the chat, but it sounds strange, but it does go through our bank, which has a arm in Chicago. So that is the correct address. So we are sending it through CIBC in Chicago, and be sure to put your name and your writer number in the memo line so we can allocate it to your page accordingly. But don't underestimate, people like to give checks, and a lot of times they'll put a lot of zeros behind it. So know your donors and know how they like to give, and provide them with a way to easily say yes to you and yes to giving to your writer fund. So just wanted to add those two things.
Thank you, Stacey. All right, well, it's just about 1, so we can start wrapping it up. Does anyone have any burning words they wanted to squeeze in before we close?
I'd just like to thank everybody for participating. Really appreciate everyone's time and insight and heartfelt connection to the cause. It's really great to see and great to hear, great to witness, and great to call all of you friends within this Petal family. It's amazing. So Corinne, really appreciate you putting this together. And if anyone listening has some newfound tips, please share them far and wide with your teammates and with your team captain, if you're not the team captain, so that they can push it out further and get that infectious enthusiasm going throughout your whole team. Because we do watch that team meter on the website, you know, which team is rising to the top or in the top 10. It's always fun to watch, and we love it when it becomes a little bit competitive. So thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, everyone. Everyone have a wonderful day and keep fundraising through October 31st.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.